everyone, this is Miss Yang Fan. I'm so happy to see you again online. And today we're going to study together of chapter 24, 25, and 26 in Acts. So let's begin. And this is about Paul on trial in Caesarea. So Paul was falsely accused by Jewish leaders and was kept in prison for over 2 years. And during that time, he appeared before several governors and leaders. At every turn, Paul shared the message of Jesus Christ. And amazingly, God delivered him from evil every time. So Paul was a person who loved God very much. He actually was a missionary who traveled to many places talking about Jesus Christ to different people. He was also an educated man and a Roman citizen. Being a Roman citizen means you have special rights. However, not everyone liked Paul. The high priest Ananias and other Jewish leaders accused him that he has been a troublemaker. They said he disrespected God in his temple and that he had tried to cause riots. They wanted him to be put to death. But since Paul was a Roman citizen, he had the right to appear before a Roman official. A Roman official could decide whether or not the accusation was true and fair. So Paul was taken to the Roman city of Caesarea for a trial before a Roman governor, and his name is Felix. The Jewish leaders who have accused Paul brought a lawyer whose name is Tertullus, and this lawyer tried to convince the governor that Paul deserved to be punished. Finally, Paul was given a chance to talk to Felix. And he told Felix that he was not a troublemaker. He had been to the temple, but he showed his respect while he was there. He said that he worshipped God, but he followed the way of Jesus. And he said that other people were making false accusations against him, and that Felix could check this out by investigating the facts. However, Felix didn't want to make a decision. He said he would keep Paul in prison until the Roman commanders from Jerusalem came to Caesarea and told his side of the story. So why Felix didn't want to do that? Because he didn't want to make Jewish leaders angry. He wanted to make them happy. So Paul stayed in prison in the place known as Herod's Palace. And Felix allowed him some freedom and let Paul's friend to take care of him. Felix and his wife, Drusilla, also liked to invite Paul to come to talk about faith in Jesus Christ. However, Felix didn't want to follow Jesus because he is afraid of the punishment of the final judgment. So he actually stopped Paul. And another reason that he doesn't want to listen to Paul is because he hoped Paul can pay him some money. But Paul didn't pay the money, so he ends up being in the prison for 2 years. And when Felix's time as a Roman governor finished, a new governor called Festus took his place. And once again, those Jewish people come and accused against Paul. They told Festus that he should send Paul to Jerusalem so he could have a trial there. But really, it was their trick so they can have a chance to kill Paul. Even though Festus wanted to keep the Jewish leaders happy too, he told them he planned to have a trial in Caesarea, where all official Roman government business took place. So back in Caesarea, Festus asked Paul to tell his side of the story. After hearing this, Festus knew the Jew did not have enough proof against Paul. But Festus didn't want to make a decision and make those Jewish leaders unhappy. So he asked Paul if he would be willing to go back to Jerusalem and let the Jewish make the decision. Paul knew that those Jews would probably kill him, so he didn't want to go. So he had been in prison for 2 years, and Paul knew that. This is a time that he needs to remind the governor that he is a Roman citizen. If this Roman court cannot make a decision, Paul said, then as a Roman citizen, I want to make appeal to the higher courts of Caesar in Rome. Festus knew that Paul was right, so he said his request was granted. Paul would now be going to Rome. But at the same time, Festus has a visit from King Agrippa and his wife Bernice. The Rome government recognized King Agrippa as a king of Jews. So Festus told him about the Jewish leader accusing Paul. King Agrippa found this is very interesting, so he asked to meet Paul. So the governor decided to gather all the city leaders and King Agrippa together in a very important and big meeting. And the meeting has many ceremonies and probably lots of speeches. Paul was called to speak in front of all these important people. So, what do you think Paul would talk about? Do you think he will beg them to let him out of the prison? No. Paul actually used this opportunity to tell these important people all about Jesus Christ. Paul told Agrippa that for many years he had been like other Jewish leaders. He used to think Christians were troublemakers too. But now he knew the truth. Jesus had come to him in a vision. And now he followed Jesus and always tried to tell people about Jesus. Paul said that God wanted everyone to hear about Jesus. And this is the reason the Jewish wanted to kill him. When he said that, Festus interrupted him and said, Paul, you have been studying so much that you are going crazy. But Paul is not crazy at all. He just wanted everyone to know about Jesus and how Jesus can forgive their sins. So he even told King Agrippa that he wanted him to follow Jesus Christ too. But King Agrippa didn't want to follow Jesus. After leaving Paul, King Agrippa told Festus that Paul has not done anything to deserve death or imprisonment, so he should have been set free. But because Paul had appealed to Caesar's official court in Rome, Festus has no choice but to send him there. And that's all in our lesson today. So in summary, Paul had met Felix, Festus, and King Agrippa. And in every turn, he made testimony in front of everybody to talk about the message of Jesus Christ. So he's doing work for God, and he's doing the right thing. But different governors has different response. Think about it. Felix, he actually knows something about Jesus Christ, but he didn't follow Jesus because he is afraid of the final judgment. He chose the wrong way because if he doesn't want the final judgment, he should follow Jesus, and that's the only way we don't need to be punished. And for Festus, he actually didn't know about Jesus. He is very, very confused. He didn't understand why Jesus died and then resurrected. So he couldn't believe Paul, and he don't understand anything about Paul's talking. He thinks Paul is crazy. And the last one is King Agrippa. He knows Jesus Christ, but initially, while Paul tried to preach to him, he said, "Do you just want to persuade me to be a Christian in such a short time?" So he also didn't want to follow Jesus. And you can see that even though the message was preached, and then everybody can hear about Jesus, but not everyone makes the right choice. So what about your choice? Let's think about it during this week, and let's talk with let's talk with our friends, and maybe talk with your parents about it. And that's the end of our lesson. I'm so happy to share the story with you, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.